Hey everybody, we're back again. This time we're looking at ripping out some of the portholes, 5 or 6 out of the 11, and also treating some of the rust in the cockpit. Now, for the better part of it, I've been okay doing a lot of these jobs all by my lonesome. But for some of them, it's definitely essential to have a second person, and for others it's just nice. So at least for these, my dad was kind enough to come down for a weekend and show me how work is supposed to be done. So me and him tackled off a lot of that rust in the cockpit. We actually knocked through a lot of the metal. There's some really heavy pitting in there, so there will be some cutting and welding to do somewhere down the road in order to remount that hardware. As for the portholes, we could see on the initial inspection that there was actually a bit of rust streaking around a couple of those portholes. Particularly you could see some of the deformation of the paint. So any of those that were the most suspect, we just pulled them out one after the other. At that stage, the weather started to take a nice turn for the worse. So what I had to do was just put up a tarp. There'll be a lot more tarps to be seen during an Irish summer.
I think you live in the dream. You live in the dream.
Yes. Just what I've been waiting on.
We just go for like this corner here. Oh, 1 sec. Good. So definitely a two-man job, because one needs to be able to handle the receiver and the other the sender bolt. Then, if all goes well, this is what we are coming out with. Yeah, that one's good. Yeah, you want to keep turning from your side? 3. Basically, we have one that is seized and one bolt was not actually seated in. Now, some of these portholes, the glass didn't really come out as easy when the frames were being taken off, and I'd left them in place over the course of the week just because the weather was quite bad and I wasn't going to be able to put them up, so it was really just that sense of it. But now as things are improving, I'm going to take off the last 2 of these, and then that way I can rebed them as well, and everything will be ready to go back in. So at least taking them off might be a little bit simpler. Simple as that. Now, just need to clean off any of that sealant and put it back in. As for now, I'll just take another piece of cardboard and cover all this up, just in case of any bad weather in the meantime. But by the way, I have my little tarp. Now, of course, these don't need to be anything perfect. Put this piece in the bin. Here you go. All it has to do is cover it up. Yeah, it definitely doesn't look like that dream craft right now. But it's home.
The assembly for these is simple enough. All you're talking about is 2 aluminium frames, the glass inside, and then the fasteners, which are these brass bolts and receivers. Now all I have to do is take away any of the sealant using a blade, and then just some degreaser to take off any of this salt or any remaining adhesive residue that might be there. After everything's cleaned down, I have some transparent sealant that I'm going to have to use to put the glass back in place. And then once they're all lined up and ready, be in a pretty good place. So at this point I have a number of these porthole frames cleaned off. Just going to test it out on this one first to make sure that the amount of weight applied is okay, that the size of the bead works as well, because I don't want to have a lot to clean up. So for that, what I want to do is just run the bead all around this inner edge using some transparent sealant. At the same time, if there is any excess, which there probably will be, simple enough to take care of, you can either use like a metal spoon, lollipop stick. In my case, I'm going to use some rubber gloves and a little bit of water, and that'll take care of it. Like I said, I'm just going to run a bead all around this inside edge. That'll be enough. It'll be enough so that it's able to just spread inside, and then the glass should be fit quite nicely, I hope. And then I have very high-tech weight to use. Got to use what we have around, so that'll be fine. It'll all be good. All right. So from that, it's actually not quite as in the edge as I would have wanted it to be, but look, live and let learn, that's why we're doing a test run. Let's just go for it. Yep, nowhere near enough. So there wasn't really any buildup on the wall, and I'm just going to run it around again to make sure there is plenty in there, because it left maybe a millimeter of a gap the whole way around. So Now this is really a simple enough inspection. All I'm doing is making sure that I can see the sealant actually going inside the glass. Anything that's coming up over the glass you can just wipe away. And actually it'll help me just fill in any of those other gaps as well. Basically I just have a little bit of excess on the inside edge. And all I want to do is clean that off now, so in that way it'll have a nicer finish. That's in place, that's all it should need to be. The only thing I want to do now is leave some very high-tech weights on it. I'll just give that the night to cure and then that'll be fine. It doesn't really need anything beyond this, and the amount of weight is really just enough to maintain pressure on the glass. As soon as this is done, it really should just be a case of wiping down the glass. That'll be it. I'm just noticing that sliding. The fun of being on a slope. Be that way. I'll use a glove. So with the sealant on, I can just let that sit now for the night. That's all fine. The other reason that I want to use a weight for this is to try and distribute the pressure a little bit better, because what I found with some of the portholes that I did take out, the glass might have been flush with the frame over here, but then on the other side there was like a 2mm gap. It may have caused for a bad seal on this outer edge as well. It's fairly hard to say, but it was something that was barely noticeable as I was taking it apart. More than anything, I just want to make sure that the seal was done right. This is not a fun job to have to take out and replace. Not very complicated, but it is time consuming. We'll give this the night to set, and provided all goes well, I'll just be doing the same thing with the other frames. Easy peasy. Now beyond that, once the portholes are off, it's only a case of clean off the sealant, put them back together again. And what I want to show you here is just a little take on how I was doing it for one of them. An easy enough case in this is how I did it, how I immediately saw the issues I had, and then how to fix it again. Kind of a nice simple system. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. We'll have more videos coming out. See more of my mistakes, more of my fun. See ya.